Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you today with a tag because it is Tag Tuesday. Now, this is actually a brand new tag. It just got created and uploaded today. It was created by Melissa over at Time Travel Reads, and Melissa was kind enough to create a book tag that went with our brand new reading event that we've been taking part in over the last 3 months, and it is the Summer of Sport 2024, which was created by the great Mark over at Book Time with Elvis. Now, some of you have noticed that Mark has taken a leave of absence from BookTube. He's currently having a home built for him, and he for some reason thinks that building a home is more important than creating videos. I don't get it, but anyway, he created this wonderful reading event, the Summer of Sport, and again, he did it in honor of the Olympics this year, and of course, the Olympics just got finished, and so Melissa was kind enough to create this tag. She got it uploaded, tagged a couple of us, and I'm going to tag a couple of other people. But all the questions are sports related. Now, that does not mean that you have to answer with sports answers like, sports books, sport book answers. But the questions are all kind of, sports driven. And I appreciate the creativity and the time that she went through to create this. So anyway, without further ado, for my Tag Tuesday, I'm doing the Summer of Sport book tag. Again, created by Melissa over at Time Travel Reads. Go check out her channel, and go check out Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, his channel. Maybe he'll come back to the reading world. But anyway, question number one, her first question for the tag was, did you read sports books before the Summer of Sports reading event? And this is a very relevant question because I know a lot of the co-hosts are not necessarily sporty people, but all of them have figured out and come to the conclusion that we need to have an appreciation for sports writing because it's very, very good. Sports writing is very good. And so answer to the question, yes. Reading sports books has always been a part of my reading. Ever since I was a little boy, it's one of those categories, those genres that kept me reading, that really engrossed me. And I started when I was a little kid reading the Landmark series, the history series, and they had like sports books. I think Landmark did. Anyway, there was a whole sports biographies from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, and in our elementary and middle school library, I read every one of them. I read all of them that they had, and read about Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, all of those guys. I read all of those sports biographies, and it really helped me to become a good reader and appreciate just the genre of biography. But I've also, growing up, I've read all the way through, I've read sports stuff. I love sports personally, and so I always had kind of a personal connection with that. So yes, I did. Question number 2, artistic gymnastics. What is the most beautiful book you have read or that you want to read? Now for me, this is a book. I have an appreciation for a lot of books, a lot of book covers, a lot of the designs. So I really struggle because I've seen this question on other tags, but I really struggle with it because I appreciate all kinds of different book covers. Now, I chose one that I literally just bought yesterday. We were at Thrift World, and they have a whole wall of books. And this is one that I found back on the wall, and it's called Free Baseball by Sue Corbett. I know nothing of this book. I think the boy is from Cuba, and he's in America. That's about all I know about it. But it's a young person, like a middle grade book, and I thought it was a pretty cool cover. Baseball. Love baseball. So, next question. Archery. Number 3, archery. Name a book that got straight to the point. Now, I picked a classic in in baseball literature. I told you I was going to pick a few sports books, but not all of these are dealing with sports. I picked Jim Bouton's book, Ball 4, My Life and Hard Times Throwing the Knuckleball in the Big Leagues. Now, this is kind of a beat-up copy. I had a paperback copy that I originally read, and then I found this hardback. Obviously, I got to do some repair work on the cover. But anyway, this book, I picked this one because, got straight to the point. Now, Jim Bouton, if you've ever read this book, he gets straight to the point. There's no beating around the bush. There's no hiding any of the secrets of baseball, which oftentimes happens with big leaguers. They hide what actually goes on in the locker room, the arguments, the fights, and back in the day, the beer drinking and all of that kind of stuff, the carousing. And Jim Bouton was very famous for bringing this out in the open. He didn't hide anything. He didn't pull any punches. And he actually made a ton of people mad in baseball. A lot of the big leaguers, I'm thinking of like Mickey Mantle and some other guys, made them really mad for bringing out the secrets, the behind the closed door stuff of baseball. And this became an instant classic. Now, Bouton did suffer from it. He got ostracized for a while for bringing out all of the secrets of baseball and getting straight to the point. But I think maybe in today's world they have more of an appreciation for what he did, because it's more like what the journalists cover today. So maybe we could say he was ahead of his time with writing that book. All right, number 4 is Rugby. What are some fiction and nonfiction books that make a good team? Now, I picked 2 sets of books because I thought this was kind of a neat idea for a question. And I think I've seen something like this before on one of the tags I did way back in the day when I first started. But I'll go fiction first, and I'm going to pick a chunky monkey of a book. This is Freedom, a novel of Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War by William Safire. Now, look at that thing. That is a block. And it is a fictional work done from many points of view, but it's talking about people in... So part of it's done from John Hay's point of view. Part of it's done from, and I won't remember her name. It was a female at the time period. Let's see, John Breckenridge's point of view. Anna Carroll. There we go. Anna Carroll's point of view. He did it from Edwin Stanton's, Ulysses Grant, George McClellan. I mean, there's just several of them. Salmon Chase. Just several of them. And it's broken into several different like mini books, so to speak. And this thing runs in at over 1,400 pages long. But it's an excellent look at what was going on. It's fiction, but it's very historical fiction. It was a great masterpiece of writing, if you ask me. I love this book. It's something I'm going to tackle again sometime. Very, very good. But I would, you could team this up with a lot of different books on the Civil War. I picked out my favorite. Maybe I'm cheating and just making the partnership between fiction and nonfiction easy. But I picked Battle Cry for Freedom by James McPherson, which deals with the antebellum, the Civil War, and the Reconstruction eras. And I thought that was just an excellent way to tag team these books. I thought they went really well together, especially since the historical writing was so good in that. And the second pairing that I did, I'll start with the fiction, and it's an I Survived book. Now, this is a middle grade book or upper elementary book. I Survived the American Revolution, 1776. And that's what the whole thing's all about. It is a graphic novel, which I don't tend to read graphic novels, but I saw it for like $1 or maybe 50 cents, and I was like, it's perfect condition. I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up. My kids like that at school. So I paired I Survived the American Revolution 1776 with, of course, David McAuliffe. In our reading, we got a read through of David McAuliffe's works that got started this month, and I chose 1776. So those are the two that I'm pairing up because the events in this fictional book are covered very well in this book. Like the Battle of New York is covered very well in both of these books. And it deals with the African American status, the status of the slave. Will he be able to fight in the war? Will he get freedom with the Declaration of Independence? That's all dealt with very, very well. And then, just to help that out, I picked out a book that I haven't even showed you yet, BookTube. My wife, in some of her hunting in the store, found David McCullough 1776, and this is an illustrated edition. So it's like a box set. Check that out. How nice is that? And that's a really hard cardboard. So very, very nice. And then throughout here, it's got documents throughout the book that go with, and they're all in these like onion skin type deals, but there's documents that tell the story of what was going on in David McCullough 1776. Now, I haven't looked at all of the documents yet, hadn't had really a chance to, but I'm going to guess there's a reproduction of the Declaration of Independence in there, and yeah, just all of the events going on there. So I'm super tickled about that, but I thought that was a really good tie-in together. So that brings us to question number 5 in this Summer of Sport book tag. Number 5 is diving. Have you ever gone on a deep dive on a subject? And I'm pretty positive you can ask my wife this, and she would definitely agree that one of my biggest deep dives that I've ever done, now obviously I dive into Abraham Lincoln, I've got tons of those books, just the subject of the Civil War itself, I've done deep dives into that. But I think one of my biggest ones that really affected me at home, affected the time that it consumed a lot of my time for a couple of years there, was my genealogy project. Now, I've got a ton of these books. They're almost a coffee table type size book. But this one is Your Guide to Cemetery Research by Sharon D. Bartolo Carmack. And she's got several books on genealogy, but they've just got helpful tips on how to use the cemetery in your research for genealogy. And then I also chose for an answer to this question, I'm running out of room for books here. I chose Val Greenwood's The Researcher's Guide to American Genealogy, which has about any type of topic that you would want in genealogy research. But anyway, I spent a couple of years there where this was a time-consuming, huge part of my life. And that was a big-time deep dive. And I went and took my family lines back. Well, we were back in the mid-1600s. And so I tried to take all of my lines back to the boat, to where the jump-off spot was, or where they came into the United States or into Canada. I had some that came through Canada in my family lines, but I tried to go back to at least to where they came across the ocean. I haven't gone into European research because holy moly, that would just consume my time. And I'll be honest, some of the records that I'd be looking for, I don't know that they exist anymore in some of my family lines. But I learned a lot about my family, and I'm really glad I did that. I know it consumed a lot of time, but it really has helped me in a lot of my classroom, my stuff that I present in my classroom with like immigration and looking at census records and stuff like that, and looking at a cemetery. How can that help your research, or what can you learn in a cemetery other than the person died? There's a lot of other things. So anyway, it's been pretty awesome how much that has impacted my life, that deep dive. So yes, I have done a deep dive. Number 6 is fencing. Name a book featuring fighting, physical or verbal, that you thought, or fighting in your thoughts, or that you had to fight your way through. So many different ways you can take that question. And I picked up I was about to say Stephen Douglas, Frederick Douglass, and his autobiographies, Narrative of the Life of an American Slave, My Bondage, My Freedom, and Life and Times. And I've read the first one a bunch. I've read that several times. I read it. I have 2 sections of 8th grade that I teach for social studies, and we read that in that class every year. So I read it twice a year at least. And so I found the Library of America for Frederick Douglass, and I'm really glad. I haven't opened it yet. It's still in the plastic. One of these days I'm going to actually open the plastic and read the other 2 autobiographies, because he did 3 of them. But the reason I chose this one is because throughout his life, he was, in the middle of physical and verbal fights in his own life through slavery. He was in the middle of fighting for his freedom, and it was an ongoing struggle that still goes to this day. The equal rights part of it is still going on to this day. And so I chose him as the ultimate representative of what reading about fighting, and then just for me myself, as I'm trying to deal with the issue of slavery in my classroom, and then just in my own head as I'm talking about the idea of freedom and equality and all men are created equal, I've had to fight my way through that issue in American history while reading this book, because it's just a struggle. How can one man, go back to Thomas Jefferson, how can one man talk about all men are created equal, but yet he was one of the largest slaveholders in the United States? I mean, I have fought my way through that struggle of trying to, read through that. And I've had many other booktubers who've tried to help me in my struggle through our buddy reads. And I still struggle through it to this day. So that's why I chose that one. Number 7, cycling. What's a book you have raced through? What is a book you've raced through? Now, I picked a series of books by Jason Reynolds, and I've talked about these. I've done book chats on these, or book reviews, whatever you want to call them. I've done that on my channel. Go check those out. But this is by Jason Reynolds. It's his track series, and it starts with Ghost, and then you got Patina, then you got Sunny, and you got Lou. And each one of these books deals with a very personal issue with African Americans in particular, or inner city kids in particular. Issues that don't get talked about in books, and he's very just upfront with these issues and making them the centerpiece of these stories. Dealing with just issues of, like we're talking inner city here, so we're talking, issues of poverty, talking issues of medical care, equality and through medical care, and dealing with things like one of the characters, the parent deals with diabetes, and deal with just stability in the homes. And this could be in this case it's dealing with African American kids, but this really could be any kid that's dealing with these same issues. But he tackles some really, really tough subjects in these books. And if you have never, I know they're middle grade books, but if you have never read these, BookTube, you need to go check these out. They're at the top of my list of favorite books. He just did an excellent job of tackling tough subjects. Number 8, sailing. Have you read any books that feature sailing in ocean or water? And yes, I have. One of my favorites that I come back to time and time again, and I recommend it to everybody, is Robin Lee Graham's Dove. And this was about the story of Robin Lee Graham, who took off. He started in, I think, was it Los Angeles or San Francisco? I think it was Los Angeles. I could be wrong on that. He started off the California coast and sailed to Hawaii, and then on down into the islands of Southeast Asia, and then all the way to India, to Africa, to South Africa, and then up through the Caribbean, and went through the canal, and then the Panama Canal, and then ended up back where he started. But he sailed around the world by himself in a really small boat called the Dove, and he faces throughout the book, he faces just the issues of loneliness out on the ocean by yourself. He faces Mother Nature. He runs into some tropical storms, some what do you call them? Not hurricanes, but typhoons. He runs into different cultures around the world. He learns a lot from the different cultures, and he also meets his future wife. And he comes up with a second book, Home as the Sailor. There we go, Home as the Sailor. And it's about his life after his around the world trip when he settled in, and I believe it was Montana. Could be wrong on that, but I think it was Montana. And he settled out in the middle of nowhere, and him and his wife built their home and end up having a child, and just all of the struggles of living out by yourself out in the middle of nowhere. And I love both of those books. So yes, BookTube, there's another big time recommendation. There's also some National Geographic helped fund the trip because he recorded his trip along the way, and I think he did 3 separate National Geographic articles, and that helped to fund this. Anyway, he did 3 different National Geographic magazine articles, and they were really good and full of photos and everything, and a lot of people really got into his story, so highly recommend that. All right, so BookTube, that's 8 questions. We are done with the question portion of this, and now it's time to tag some people. So I'm going to tag some of the other people who were co-hosts in this event. Now, Mark left it open at the end to anybody that wanted to join. So I do apologize if I missed some people. What I did was I went back to Mark's original announcement video, and I marked the people that did not get marked, because Deb's got got tagged over in the in Melissa's video. Me and Deb's did, and so what I did was I tagged the other ones from Mark's original announcement video for the Summer of Sport reading event. So I'm going to tag Mark over at Book Time with Elvis. I'm going to tag Steve Donahue. I'm going to tag Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. And I'm going to tag Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. And so I'll be interested to see what books they put up for these questions on this tag. So again, BookTube, thank you for watching. Thank you for participating in the Summer of Sport reading event if you've been involved in this. And I highly recommend that you try out this tag. The questions are pretty open-ended. They're not necessarily sport related. The prompts are sport related, but you can put in any books. So everybody's welcome to do this. I just wanted to tag those specific people because they were co-hosts. But this has been the Summer of Sport book tag. And again, go check out Melissa over at Time Travel Reads. She's the one that created this. Go check out her video and go check out her channel. Give her some subs. She's a great booktuber and been participating in this, and then she's also participated in Historathon 2024, and just a wonderful person. Go check out her channel, give some subs. So, and go check out those people I tagged. So BookTube, thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time, and till next time, happy reading.